So we're making our sourdough bread with just a few ingredients. Look, the next time you buy store-bought bread, how many ingredients? What is all that stuff in your bread?
Right.
You don't need that. So Mrs. Farmer, let's walk them through the whole process of making your own sourdough starter in your own kitchen, harvesting, I should say trapping,
Oh yeah, trapping.
that wild yeast into this jar, and now we have sourdough starter.
Yes, we do.
So, day one, what do you do, Ms. Farmer?
And we started with we just used a glass bowl, and we would cover it each night so we could kind of watch it better. I just have these because I think they look fancy to have it on the counter.
We took some video with our phone because it was such a process. Now, we used just regular store-bought all-purpose flour.
Right.
4 ounces, 4 ounces. Flour, water. You put this in, mix it up,
Right.
cover your bowl, set it in a temperature anywhere between 70 and 80 degrees, which is pretty easy to do.
Right.
We set it in a room over top of the garage
That's
where we
kinda
knew it was a
warm.
little bit warmer.
Right.
Day two, we come back.
24 hours.
24 hours, and we notice there's already a few bubbles in
Right.
here. That's what you want to see. That
Right.
means things are working. It's eating.
Yes.
Day two, 24 hours later, we add 4 ounces of flour, 4 ounces of water. We mix it up, stir it up real good. Then you scrape any down off the sides, down into the bowl.
Right.
Cover it, set it back in your spot where it's 70 to 80 degrees. Day three.
Did you notice something different day three?
I did notice something. It's really starting to work. It's starting to get a smell to it. It's starting to
is.
smell like sourdough bread.
A little bubbly.
A little bubbly. Same thing. Feed it.
Right.
4 ounces flour, 4 ounces of water.
Right. Equal
Mix
parts.
it up. Equal parts. Mix it up. Scrape it off the sides.
Right.
Cover it back in your 70, 80 degree
Easy,
environment.
simple.
Easy. Day four, we noticed something really unique. Started getting a vinegar smell and
Yeah.
that sourdough.
Got excited.
It was
didn't we?
sour.
Yes.
It was a little pungent. So we stirred it up, fed it again,
Right.
put it away, covered it, and it really did. And you hope for that vinegar. Lots of bubbles.
Yes.
Lots
Yeah.
of bubbles
Yes.
at this point. Day five, we fed it after day four. Day
Right.
five, guess what? It's ready to use.
Yes, it
if
is.
you're having that action and it's doing its thing, sometimes you may want to go another day, feed it, and do it another day.
Right.
But it worked for us. It was ready to go. So instead of doing all that kneading and folding and kneading, that long process, we took and we made a simple dough, and we add a little bit of honey. What'd you add to that?
And what we did is I just took the starter. I took half a cup. I scooped it out of there, put it in, and I added
Kneaded it up.
Right,
here.
knead it up in there. I added 2 tablespoons of honey to this one, a pinch of salt, then we added a cup of water, and after all that was mixed, I added 3 cups of flour to it, and then I let it mix until it was almost like bubble gum. It's real sticky. So it got sticky, I pulled it out, I put a little flour on it, and I kneaded it just very little, just folded it over till I could make it into a little ball and threw it in a bread pan. But I let that sit 24 hours too.
That's 24
Overnight.
hours.
I just let it
That's 24
sit out on the counter for 24 hours, and it's not going to raise real big, but we cooked it and it was
That's the
delish.
first experiment.
Right.
In a bread pan, we wanted to make a bread.
Very dense and delicious.
The taste was fantastic. Now again, she let it sit for 24
Right.
hours.
And I also, another thing I did cover it with a wet cloth also.
Gotcha.
And let it kind of sit in the warmth. And we actually have that cooking right now. It's going to cook about 30 minutes. It's not going to be as big as the other one, but boy, does it taste good.
It's almost unbelievable. You taste the honey in there.
Oh, it's good.
But then we wanted more of a sandwich bread. So
Right.
we started experimenting a little bit more. So we decided to add a little yeast to make it rise a little more and make it
Right.
a little more flour. Do you know what causes that?
No, what causes that?
It to raise carbon dioxide.
Okay.
As it's eating, it lets off those bubbles and gases, and that's why it raises. How about that?
That's
Is
interesting.
that not interesting?
That's interesting.
So anyway, here's our second experiment that we really liked as well.
This.
Tell them what we did, Ms. Foreman.
All right, well, what I have now, this time we're actually going to use a little bit of yeast also. We still need our starter, but we are going to start off. This is 3/4 of a teaspoon of yeast. So if
Is
you
that
want,
active dry yeast
yes, if you want to just throw that in.
in here?
Yes.
In the machine?
And I have warm water here. I have 5 ounces of warm
Put
water.
that in?
Put that in with it, and then just start that up on low. And we're going to let that mix up a little bit.
All right, I'm going to mix this up, right?
Yes.
Put it on low?
Just on low. Let's let that go for a little bit. While that's going, now I have 2 of these because I'm just having so much fun. I need 1 cup of the starter.
You can use a whole cup.
Yes, a whole cup. Now each time after the 5 days too, we forgot to explain something you do. Every day if you want to keep feeding it, you got to take a cup out of it. So we want to take out a cup, not to use, and then just keep feeding it daily. So if you don't make bread, I guess you got to throw it out, or you got to make bread every day.
After the 5 days, you've got to take half of it out. Now that would be the perfect opportunity to take half of it out and give it to your friend.
That's exactly.
And let them start feeding it, explain the process.
Or make bread every day.
Or make bread every day.
That's right. All right, so that's mixing.
Give us this daily bread.
That's right. So now, this is a little bit gooey. So we need, this is a half a cup measure here. I need 2 cups of this. So let me get, I don't want to get you gross here because this is kind of.
I'm going to stand back.
All right. And this is our starter. You smell that? And I'm going to have to feed this later. We're going to have to refeed this and get this going again. And there's another half a cup.
Now, if you smell that, it smells almost like a sweet beer.
Yes,
it's
it
got
does.
a fermentation.
Yes.
So I've been looking for an excuse to eat bread, Mrs. Farmer.
That's right, I like it. All right, one thing we are going to add is half a tablespoon of salt, and this is kosher salt. So if you want to just throw that in, and we're done with that.
All right.
Now the only thing we have to do, this is so easy. I have 2 cups of flour here.
So
as this is going, if you want to just dump it real slowly, a little bit at a time, and this is going to almost get like sticky bubble gum when we know it's ready to go.
It really is sticky, isn't it?
It is. You're good.
Yeah, I'll let you do it at your pace.
You just add it in, and we're going to let that, after we get it all in and it's kind of mixed, we're going to let it knead for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Oh, that smell.
Good. And you might want to, if you want to go ahead and hit this a little, knock down the sides, that'd be great. And it's doing pretty good on its own, but yeah.
Making me work, Mrs. Farmer.
I know, I'm making you do stuff. We're going to time this for a few minutes, and let's just let this.
So 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's actually going to get to where it's going to be banging and hitting hard when it gets to where it's going to go. You see it getting thicker? Mm-hmm. All right. And I think it's in pretty good shape. Now it's going to watch it get thick here. You're good. You don't have to knock anymore if you don't want. Let's just let it get so thick that it has trouble going.
Now, if you don't have a machine, you could do this by hand.
Right. But this makes it so simple. And this is my 40-year-old mixer. It's so old and it still works. I love it.
40 years old.
Yes. See how it's all coming
That's
together
older
there?
than me.
That's right. It's older than you and me. I got it
Put together.
before I was born.
And while we're talking here, I noticed that bread's starting to get brown on the top. Oh,
Yeah, and see, it doesn't raise as large as this next. This is with no yeast, and look at that.
But let me tell you what.
That's wonderful.
Now look at that beautiful little hot loaf of bread. We're going to let this cool. Now, one thing about sourdough bread is you got to let it completely cool before you cut it. Now that's really hard sometimes because it smells so good.
Right.
This may not make it to the complete cool down
That's
stage.
right.
Now,
How's that smell?
smells like heaven.
We should probably put it out on like a little
Let's
tray.
put it on a little cooling
Let's do that.
tray.
And I think that's done if you want to turn that off. Yep, turn it off.
So we got a busy kitchen going on
Yes, we
here.
do.
And the smell, I just so wish people could smell what's going on in here.
Yeah.
That smells like heaven. That smells like heaven. And I can't wait to eat some bread. Now this little loaf of bread, our first experiment.
And that's with no yeast added.
That's
our own.
with no yeast other than the wild yeast. And we didn't spend 45 days kneading it and turning it. That is beautiful when it's cut into small pieces and buttered and you have along with a salad or you have along with a soup. We'll cut some of that and show you what that looks like while it's still a little bit warm.
And we did nothing with it. That is sat in a pan for 24 hours and I cooked it. That's it.
The taste is unreal.
Yes.
The taste is just unreal. Okay, now this is done. Where do we go from here?
Unlock this. If you can lift that up for me. Let me get everything off of here. This is where I'm going to get dirty. See how it's kind of like a bubble gum?
It is. It's sticky.
All right. Let me get this. And you can see it. See how it is right
I
here?
see that. Go ahead and show them how.
It's kind of sticky. And I want to be able to work with it a little here. So I'm going to put a little flour in there just so I can get it moving around a little bit. But see how it's kind of coming together with the flour? All right. I'm able to at least touch it now. You want to sprinkle a little more flour in there for me?
On the deck
Yeah,
here?
just right on this, on the top of it.
top?
Yeah, just to get it. We don't need that much, just a little bit. All right. You know, when people make sourdough, a lot of times they do them these round. You have to do this every day. All right, see that? Mm-hmm. Put a little oil in this pan.
Okay. This is a little spray olive oil.
Yeah.
It just evenly coats it.
And that's it. And
in
now
the bowl?
it's going to double in size. We're going to let it sit for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Just in the house with a towel on it.
Gotcha.
So you want to put it behind us. That's
I'll
perfect.
set this right over here. And here's what we look like after 2 hours.
That's 2 hours. See what that's done?
Beautiful.
Is that wonderful?
Now, like I said, we put a little more yeast in there, active dry
Mm-hmm.
yeast, just to activate a little bit more so we could have that fluff for more sandwich
Right.
bread.
And now we're going to do a little bit more kneading of this. See how this knock it down? So this is only, you have to knead it
You
twice.
deflated the soccer ball.
I deflated it. Give me a little flour again. See how it's back to the bubble gum?
Say when?
This is the one we're preparing for the actual bread pan, and this is going to just take another 2 hours. We're not going to knead it a whole lot, just to get it. See how great it is to work with?
Oh,
That's it.
beautiful.
I didn't do that much. boom, in there, and we're going to cover
Cover it
that
with a towel.
one. Yes.
So we need some towels.
Yes, we do.
Cover these right here.
Now that's after 2 hours sitting in the loaf pan.
2 more hours.
Right. And now we're ready to cook. This has been sitting for 2 hours. I have the oven at 425.
Okay.
We're going to let it go 10 minutes. You're going to see it rise in these 10 minutes a little, and then after 10 minutes, we're going to turn it down to 400 for another 20 minutes, and you won't believe what we get.
Boom, baby, boom.
Beautiful.
All right.
That's ready.
So we did our due diligence. We took half of that out. We used it.
Right.
So we have to feed it. So same thing. Open it up. We're going to put
That's half a cup of flour, which is 4 ounces,
4 ounces.
and half a cup of water.
Now I'm going to mix it vigorously. We found these little sealed jars, and they're nice because you don't have to put plastic on them.
And they look cute on the counter.
They do
This
look
is going to
cute
sit
on
on
the
the counter.
This smells like heaven, I'm telling you.
And being we use some of it, we're good. You want to take at least
We took
half
half
out.
of it out,
Yeah.
at least half.
Yeah, and then you refeed every day.
So let's say you're going to take a week's vacation. What would you do, Mrs. Farmer?
You can stick this in the fridge for a week. As long as it's fed once a week, pull it out and let it
Room temperature?
come back to room temperature, and you can continue on.
So we're going to seal this
Yes.
up,
Yes.
put it back in its 70-degree environment, 70 to 80 degree
And we're good.
environment, and let it work until we use it the next time. Mrs. Farmer, look at that bread staring at me.
I know. You need a piece?
I just might. You didn't see the way it's looking at me?
It is looking at you.
Eat me. Okay, I'm so sorry, Mr. Loaf of Bread. I did not let you completely cool down, but Mr. Farmer, I'm starving.
That way butter will melt on it. It'll be so
I know,
good.
That's true. Some people call that the heel.
Look how thick that is. You don't need anything. That's just like dessert.
Now look at that. It's got the little holes.
That needs some
That's just a little
butter
bit of
pieces.
heaven right there. Let's lay that and let's let the butter absorb into that. And to me, this is just a nice side bread if you
Oh,
want to have
yeah.
this for dinner and really have a whole lot of flavor. You go first.
I'm starving.
I know
I
you
can't
are.
hardly wait.
Okay. That's ridiculous.
We need this every day for breakfast. This is a good breakfast bread, isn't it?
You imagine French toast with that?
Oh my goodness, good idea.
We've been playing Frankenstein with the bread. We tried it in the refrigerator to see if it would rise. We've tried so many things, and you know what? It's fun.
Yes, it is.
Now, a lot of people say, well, you got to do this, and you don't got to do this, and you got to do this, and you don't got to do this. Don't add this, don't add that. But you know what? At the last minute, in our latest recipe, just put a little more yeast in it
Yeah.
to give it that last
bit
and
more.
final raise. And look what you've got.
Wow.
To me, that's just about the perfect loaf of bread, Mrs. Farmer. Can we cut it for you?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll hold it for you.
All right.
Ooh, beautiful.
Now, why would you want to go to the store and buy bread with 152 ingredients you don't know what any of them are? And we know exactly what's in here.
I make bread every day.
I'm telling you what,